I like to think of myself as a freedom fighter. I think that
You're
I
full
could.
of shit.
I think I
You
would.
are like double blue pill.
You're crazy. You're absolutely nuts.
You would not even go to the meeting. That's how blue pill you are.
What do you mean I would not even go to the meeting?
Well, hold on. Where are these meetings? Who's going to be there? No, I'm going to stay home.
You live in Scottsdale. It's the blue pill of Arizona.
You guys are nuts.
Remember when we first met John McClane? Argyle picked him up from the plane and took him down to Nakatomi Tower at the Christmas party. And the terrorists were overzealous, but it was sweet when they killed Ellis. And with a little help from Alan, John McClane killed.
Welcome back to Chat the Movies, the podcast where we answer the question, were the movies we love and growing up really that good? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why don't they make movies like they used to? Can you still remember spending your Friday night searching for the perfect movie rental at Blockbuster Video? Do you even remember what Blockbuster Video was? If you answered yes, and this is the podcast for you, I'm one of your three hosts, Roger Roper, and alongside me are my two co-hosts, Big D, Dick Ebert.
Good evening.
And Gene Lyons.
I know Kung Fu.
And each week we take a look back in time and decide if our favorite films from our childhood still hold up. Each week the audience selects from 4 movie choices that we then break out our race car VHS tape rewinders and watch the movie that tallied the highest number of votes. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and download wherever you get your fine podcasts. Big D, what is the movie we are doing this week?
So I thought this was going to be a close one, but it turned out not to be. It was hackers and computer movies from the 80s and 90s. In fourth place was Tron with 11%. Third place, Hackers, which everybody seemed to like, but nobody voted for it, 13%. In second place, War Games at 28%, and the winner in a landslide, the 1999 breakthrough special effect classic, The Matrix, with 48%.
I've got 2 theories on what's going on here. Actually, 3. Theory 1 is people are just tired of us watching shitty movies, and they're like, please watch something better. Theory 2 is that it's a younger demographic that we're hitting. Like, we're trying to find old guys like ourselves, but we're just finding younger people who are like, oh, I remember that one, but not the other. And the other one is just that...
Hold on, shitty movies? We've done Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Top Gun, and you're saying those are shitty movies?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that people have gotten tired of us doing shitty movies, and they're only voting for the good ones now. And so they don't want to see us do, Hackers, because they're like, oh, that movie was, it'd be funny to watch it, but it sucked. I actually liked Hackers. But anyway, theory number 3, and I think that this is the one that nails it, is that we started this off wanting to do nostalgic 80s movies, and people are like, no, we're really nostalgic for the late 90s. Because I think it's what's happening here. Yeah, granted, we had Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, but I think Ghostbusters revealed that the 80s aren't all that we thought they were.
Yeah, I think your second option with the age, there's people who weren't alive during War Games. There's people who even, The Matrix is a bit old for them. So we'll see. But I have no complaints. These movies are much better. I'd rather watch this than Ghostbusters.
What? You would rather watch The Matrix than Ghostbusters?
Oh, I'd watch The Matrix 100 times over watching Ghostbusters.
You guys are fucking out of your mind. Like, listen, The Matrix is a fine movie, and we're gonna get into that. And I'll make the argument that the people who are Ghostbuster fans are way more positive about life in general than people who are fans of The Matrix.
Well, yeah, I mean, The Matrix inspired, like, mass shootings, and Ghostbusters just inspired boogie woogie dancing.
It inspired
Ecto Cooler.
Fun, the cosplay and communities of people that create their own little franchises and go help sick children in the hospitals. Meanwhile, The Matrix invented 4chan.
Yeah, I still would rather watch it.
You're fucking crazy. The Matrix is a 1999 science fiction action film written and directed by the Wachowskis, starring Keanu Reeves, Laurence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, Hugo Weaving, and Joe Pantoliano. It depicts a dystopian future in which the reality perceived by most humans is a simulated reality called The Matrix, created by sentient machines to subdue the human population while their body's heat and electrical activity are used as an energy source. Computer programmer Neo learns this truth and is drawn into a rebellion against the machines, which involves other people who have been freed from the dream world. It was released on March 31st, 1999, on a production budget of $63 million. It took in a worldwide box office gross of just under $464 million. The film won a total of 32 awards, including 4 Academy Awards for editing, visual effects, sound, and sound editing. And a fun fact is that both Will Smith and Nicolas Cage turned down the role of Neo, knowing that of the 3, Keanu Reeves, Nicolas Cage, Will Smith, who would have you have liked to have been Neo?
So, Raj, literally in my notes, I wrote down, I wish Keanu Reeves hadn't played Neo, and I made a list of people that I'd want to play him. Will Smith, I could see it. Nowhere in my mind did Nicolas Cage enter the picture. Holy shit, that would be amazingly bad.
It was the late 90s. Nicolas Cage was attached to every movie.
Couldn't you picture? What was his character's name in Raising Arizona?
Hi.
Yeah, okay, so hi. Half of Neo's lines are like, whoa, really? Whoa. I could picture Hi doing those lines.
But like Keanu Reeves, I think surprised everyone right out the gate with being such a badass. He committed himself to the role. You felt like, okay, I can get Keanu Reeves doing these type of moves and buying into the whole martial arts. I think he's done the same thing with John Wick, right? Like he became the character of John Wick. And so for that reason, I think there's no other actor I could see pulling off Neo.
No, he's perfect. The role is supposed to be an empty vessel. Neo has no idea what's going on. He's kind of clueless. He's learning as he goes through it. Keanu Reeves is a natural. He was born to play this clueless role.
Absolutely not. He's supposed to be a hacker that finds Morpheus and all this, and Morpheus finds him. You're supposed to be that, the idea being that he is not as physically, like you wouldn't expect it from him physically, but the fact that his brain, being a great hacker, he's the chosen one, and he looks like a dope. When he does the black market software deal, he is not believable as a hacker at all. He looks as odd on a computer as like a dog would look on ice skates. It's just fucked up.
Well, we always start off the podcast with asking, where were you when this movie came out? When did you first watch it? Big T, what are your first memories of The Matrix?
So this is one of the easier movies to remember where I was. Granted, it's the most recent, but I had just finished Army basic training and AIT at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. So after 14 weeks of doing absolutely like nothing, we were able to get a weekend off. We went and saw this movie, and I don't know if it was because it's the first thing I'd seen in almost 4 months, but overall, it just totally blew my mind. And watching it today, I had a lot of pleasant memories.
So let me get this straight. So at Army basic training and AIT, they do nothing?
What do you mean?
You just said you spent 4 months doing nothing and then went to the movies.
Well, like nothing recreational, right?
In the combat arms, like a lot of them, you'll do basic training, and then there's a break, and you go to your advanced training station. Fort Leonard Wood, I was a 12 Bravo, a combat engineer. So the 2 are done. It's called a 1 unit, or it's like a 1 stop. So instead of breaking, ours was continuous all the way through.
Right.
In between, we got a couple days off, but being combat arms, there was almost no downtime. There was no difference for us, basically, between basic training and AIT. So it was 16 weeks of no music, no Walkman, no TV, no movies. So this was the first real weekend of freedom.
Right. What about you, Gene?
Yeah, I had the Matrix code as my screensaver. This was like the golden age of the goth industrial movement in America. So these goth kids were like clamoring to see this movie. And if you look at who's in it, I mean, on the soundtrack, Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, Ministry, Portishead, The Prodigy. Like this was the mainstream reaching out a hand and saying like, "This is for you, children," and we were all very, very excited about it. So again, yeah, I had the poster. This it couldn't have hit at a better time in my life. I was completely ready for it at 19, and it blew me away.
But you see, that makes no sense to me, because you would think that the goth industrial kids, they would look at a movie like this and be like, "Oh, this is fucking Hollywood selling out, trying to make money off of our lifestyle."
Oh no, but I mean, but the thing is that from our aesthetic, like you've got latex, you've got like a lot of black PVC. There's, lots of like weapons, there's industrial clubs, there's like computers, like all the stuff that we're into, particularly industrial kids. This was like beautiful, because most other movies that are made in an industrial aesthetic, like they've got low budgets and they look like shit. So it was kind of cool.
So like what did you more identify with, The Matrix or Blade?
Oh man, that is a tough question. I would have to say Blade, but The Matrix was, much higher quality film.
Oh yeah, I mean they finally got like the computer effects right. Obviously they won some awards for it, but I remember I was a sophomore in college at the University of Florida, and it came out right as school was ending in college, and we went out and watched it. And I thought it was great, and then I went and was a camp counselor at Hershey, Pennsylvania, in that whole area out there. And it's all the kids, and they were young. They were like 12, 13-year-old kids. I was doing like senior boys, so it was 13, 14, 15. But they were all talking about this movie. It really was the movie of the summer of 1999. But the unfortunate thing about the movie is it did supposedly inspire the Columbine shooting, right? The kids went in there with the trench coats. They called themselves the Trench Coat Mafia, and they likened their hero of Neo as going in there and killing all the bad people. And I think that's really what's led us down this 4chan society where people truly believe that they're living in a simulation and they want to be heroes. There's a term for it when they're going back and forth and they're saying kill yourself or go out and be a hero. I think they point back to this movie as the inspiration for that. And I think that tarnishes my enjoyment of watching the film. And for that reason, it's tough for me to watch this movie.
I'm glad you brought that up, Raj, because during one of the final shootout scenes, when they go in there with just a mass armament and start blasting away at people, with the big trench coats and stuff, I'm watching it and I'm really starting to enjoy it. And then all of a sudden it like clicked in my head. I was like, wait, how long after this movie did Columbine happen? It was 3 weeks. It was 20 days after this movie came out. That happened, and I was like, holy shit. And again, the next 5 minutes where I really should be enjoying this big shoot 'em up scene, I couldn't. I was like, this thing in front of me, like, if you don't draw that parallel, you're insane.
You compare that, I was like, oh, well, I remember The Matrix Reloaded being good, so I went and watched that as well. I got more enjoyment out of the Matrix Reloaded scenes in the chateau where they're doing the whole like slow motion jumping towards each other with the swords. And then when they're on the highway and they're shooting at the cars, back and forth, that felt more like a movie to me versus when they're walking to the office building. That seemed like a blueprint for shit that we've seen since, 1999 for the last 18 years.
But you talk about the movie leading into real world problems. In 2003, the Matrix defense actually became a legal term. There was a shooting in Virginia.
The Virginia Tech shooting?
No. It was a kid in Virginia. He murdered his parents.
Okay.
And his claim was that he truly believed that he was living in a virtual world.
Right.
Like the Matrix. So they tried it. It didn't work.
Well, the shooter, Lee Malvo, he also left a note behind saying, basically it was the same thing, was that he credited the Matrix, like that it was an act against the Matrix. So this is not, it's not an isolated thing.
And I know movies are supposed to be an escape from all of that, but I remembered this movie completely different. Or maybe it's just because of the 18 years and all the mass shootings that have happened in America, which is just...
maybe I'm the twisted one here. I didn't even think about any of that.
You did? Well,
not once. Not once.
All right.
It's because they locked your ass up for 14 weeks.
Without any kind
brainwashed
of
you.
Play the trailer.
Whoa. Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
What is happening to me?
The answer is out there, Neo. It's the question that drives us.
What is the Matrix?
The Matrix is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
They're watching you, Neo.
Human beings are a disease. You are a cancer of this planet. And we are the cure.
Get me the hell out of here!
Welcome to the real world.
So you're here to save the world.
So what do you need? Guns. Lots of guns.
No one has ever done anything like this.
That's why it's going to work.
Buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy. Because Kansas is going bye-bye.
Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
All right. The movie starts off with Trinity, an infamous hacker, is cornered by police in an abandoned hotel. She overpowers them with superhuman kung fu abilities, but a group of sinister, superhuman, black-suited agents lead the police in a rooftop pursuit. She answers a ringing public telephone and vanishes before a dump truck can smash her into the wall.
So let's start off here with the introduction to the world. It looks as beautiful today as it did back in 99. It's gritty. It looks, I would have thought the movie was made within the last 5 years, how crisp and clean and stylized it is. And meeting Trinity, it's nice to see another badass female character. We always think of Ripley. I don't think we give this movie enough credit for having Trinity. She is one of the biggest badass female characters that we've seen in a long time.
The badassery combined with just like that look and that tight leather, and it was totally copied by Kate Beckinsale in the Underworld movies. But man, Carrie-Anne Moss, huh?
First of all, not leather, gentlemen. It's vinyl. But there's a scene where she puts her hands up, and that's it. It's totally intentional. And there's just booty. It's like black, like shiny booty. But here's the thing: is as I'm getting into her character, that opening move she does reveals one of the flaws of this movie is that people do things that are tactically idiotic. Like when she wall runs, the guys are shooting at you. You don't run up on a wall, making yourself a bigger target, and then kind of circle back around the corner and then take them out. It was a little goofy, but I agree with Big D that it did a great job of establishing the world that you're saying, okay, she's doing something like we didn't know going into the movie. We're like, okay, she's doing something that doesn't look human. What's going on here? And then the fact that she has to run from the agents makes it very clear, like in Die Hard, that this is not a stand your ground kind of fight. This is a you get the fuck out of there kind of fight.
The agents were by far my favorite part of the movie back in 99 when I watched it for the first time, and they're still my favorite part of the movie. The iconic black IBM white shirt, tie with the clip and the sunglasses and little earpiece. Like, I wanted to be an agent.
No, Lieutenant, your men are already dead. Yeah, they were badass, but you figure they're run by the Matrix and the computer. Why can't they shoot? You figure that their aim would be pretty good.
Well, to be clear, they're sentient programs. So they're not actually a part of the Matrix. Like, they live within the Matrix, but they're sentient programs, so they operate independently. And again, you have to always clarify that they are in concrete, restricted coding, whereas humans have flexibility. So they can shoot a normal person pretty well. They just can't shoot, But yeah, Carrie-Anne Moss at one point is running on a rooftop in a straight line, and it should be a pretty easy shot for any agent.
Yeah, but he wanted to stop and watch her run. He was there with the audience. You can't watch her run like that and just do anything else but just watch.
But aside from that, I just kind of wanted to live in Hugo Weaving's mouth. Like when he's saying when he's like, your men are already dead, there's that little part of his mouth that opens on the side. I just kind of want to crawl in there, just go to sleep. So that's the part of the movie that turned me on.
Hugo Weaving made The Matrix. Again, a movie, and we've said this multiple times on Shed the Movies, a movie's only as good as its villain. Hugo Weaving, perfect. Absolutely fantastic.
Big D, you talked about the setting of the movie and the way things are built, and I love the fact that they made a very interesting choice. If you gave this to most people and you said, okay, we're going to make a movie about the future and people are imprisoned in this matrix, blah, blah, they would try to make it the year 2300 or 2200, and they would fail miserably at making it look like the future because it's really hard to do. And so it was so smart of them to set it in present day. It makes it easy on production staff with just little tweaks, right? So lots of that 90s tech makes it more believable. The landline phones, the regular guns, the boxy computers. Like, they didn't have to show everything future-y because the Matrix is now. And it also has a really cool effect on the viewer, or a really, violent effect on the viewer, saying this could be it. This could be what we're living in right now.
The other thing that I really enjoyed about this movie is when you're in the real world, they did a very effective job visually, where it's just slightly off in the Matrix. There's that green tint, there's that green hue when you're in the Matrix versus when you're in the real world. And as an audience, you don't think about it, but your mind registers where you are, and it's a very deliberate and I think effective technique when done correctly. And the Wachowskis knocked it out of the park on this one.
But we were talking about running on the walls. That bullet time technique blew my mind the first time I saw it. Because you didn't know. First of all, you don't know what's going on in the world. And then to see time almost stop. And I felt that the movie could have really overused it and kept going back to the well 5 or 6 times. That first opening was great to tease us. And then I think they do it maybe 1 or 2 times more. I was thankful they didn't go over the top with the effect because it would have been too much.
The disappointing thing about looking and watching this movie again is because it was copied so much after the release of this movie that the things that made it so groundbreaking in terms of visual techniques and standards, it became copied and repeated to where looking back on it, I'm like, man, these effects are kind of lame. Like, you know, but you have to remember back in 99, this was groundbreaking as shit. But we've surpassed the fighting styles of The Matrix to where it looks a little bit dated to me. And I have to consistently think to myself, like, it came out in 99. Like, there was no other movie like this. No other movie was like this.
And the fighting style, I thought it was beautiful. It was like a dance. And you think it looks a little stuffy, like it's not natural. Remember, Neo, for all intents and purposes, is a simulation that's trained to fight. So it looks like it's not a natural organic movement. I thought it was great. I would watch it again right now. I thought it was beautiful.
There's nothing about Keanu Reeves' movement that is natural at all. I mean, that was actually one really fitting. I know that's what I'm saying. That is actually one fitting thing about the way he portrayed that character is he doesn't even move like a normal person at any point.
He doesn't do it in real life.
Well,
he's robotic.
How dare you? That man is a national treasure.
Point Break.
Computer programmer Thomas Anderson lives a double life under the hacker alias Neo. He believes something is wrong with the world and is puzzled by repeated online encounters with the cryptic phrase, The Matrix. Trinity contacts him, saying that a man named Morpheus can explain its meaning. However, the agents, led by Agent Smith, apprehend Neo at his office and attempt to get a plea bargain out of Neo in exchange for helping them capture Morpheus, whom they call a terrorist. Undeterred, Neo meets Morpheus, who offers him a choice between a red pill, which will allow him to learn the truth about the Matrix, and a blue pill, which will return him to his former life. After swallowing the red pill, Neo's reality disintegrates and he awakens naked and weak in a liquid-filled pod, one of countless people connected by cables to an elaborate electrical system. He is rescued and brought aboard Morpheus's hovercraft, the Nebuchadnezzar.
I don't even want to take any time up here. I want to go straight to Gene. Gene, that club scene, break it on down for us.
All right, guys. So the club scene I'd totally forgotten about. We get in there, and first of all, when they go to pick Neo up, so they got the black market dealing of the software, and he's supposed to be, you know, he sees the white rabbit on the woman's shoulder, and he's like, okay, I got to follow her. That's what that's what I was told to do by the computer. Again, as the world's worst hacker.
What you did in 1999. When the computer told you to do something, you did it.
Okay, I'm not fucking around. 1994, I think I've told this story before, but there was a bulletin board system, and I was on a bulletin board system, and I was told that people were coming to pick me up. And Minei Lee, a Korean-American woman, goth, shows up on her skateboard right outside my house, and she's like, let's go. And we go. We ended up at the Nile Theater in Mesa, Arizona, and it was an all-night goth dance night in this basically a big old warehouse.
And I'm pretty sure I've asked this question in the past too, but then at some point, did the sprinkler system start spewing blood?
Bloodbath. No. But anyway, so when I saw Neo go to this club, this was a perfect depiction. The music, the way it was laid out, the way people were hanging out, the way he was just kind of off to the side, and like the conversation between Neo and Trinity. All of this was just, it brought back so many memories. And again, you had that fantastic soundtrack to this movie. The outfits were on point. Like everything about this was a perfect time capsule of the 90s goth industrial scene, down to the overuse of sunglasses.
But when your goth friends would show up at your door and you would exchange what I imagine would be what was the Sony mini discs, you guys would exchange that with your, like, hey, this is our playlist, this is our set list for tonight. It's on my Sony mini disc. Was there a girl with the nose ring and she had the choker on and she was kind of looking you up and down, also while hugging her boyfriend at that time? Like there was a little sexual tension going on there where he's like, I don't know if I should go, but they totally wanted to bang him, right?
No, they just wanted him to come out and have a good time. She was a fun.
Oh, no way. No way.
She wanted to fuck him hard.
No, she was about sharing. She said, I guarantee you'll have fun.
Yeah, you know what that means.
No, it's just a communal spirit. Come on, you guys.
No way.
But did they? So obviously, you grew up in that fashion scene. Did they get the fashion right? Did the goth industrial scene inspire the clothing for this movie, or did the Matrix inspire the clothing for the goth industrial scene?
Oh yeah, the shit that they're wearing in the Matrix has been a staple of the goth industrial scene for years before that. So, 99. I mean, I'd been wearing that kind of stuff, and friends of mine wearing that stuff. That was actually kind of dated at the time, actually, because vinyl, PVC, those long coats and stuff like that that was kind of came in vogue in the goth industrial scene, probably like in the late 80s, early 90s. So this has already been around for a while.
In college, I used to do a bit of raving myself, my fair share of drugs. And I can just remember some of the clubs in Manhattan being super hot. You're on all kinds of hallucinogens. It would have been miserable wearing vinyl, like a long coat, vinyl pants. How the fuck did you guys not get heat stroke?
I was going to say, what is the proper way to wear vinyl? Like, do you have to
There
just
is no proper
toss an entire bottle of baby powder down there in order for you to be able to move around? Like, what happens? How do you keep it from sticking onto your body?
No, vinyl's very, very different from latex. So latex, you would lubricate it, and it actually kind of matches your skin temperature, and it's actually really quite comfortable. Vinyl, on the other hand, is just it's awful. It's like wearing a trash bag, but it's kind of like poor man's latex, And so, yeah, it's not great to move around in. You do want to keep your you never want to do that. You never want to do the powdering with latex because it'll dry it the fuck out. Like you got to.
Oh, so you never powder?
Never powder your latex.
What would you lube with?
Lubricant with oil.
You would just you would literally throw on oil.
Yeah, you got to lubricate your latex. It's like skin.
This way too.
I got so many questions, but we don't have the time right now. But
yeah. All right. Well, you talk about, speaking of being dated, the technology that they're utilizing compared to now, like the green screen, I think is effective because it's not using blinking lights. It really truly is its own iconic thing. It's not like looking back and watching, old Star Wars or Star Trek movies where they're supposed to be set in the future. And it really kind of defined, you talked about like having the screensaver. Everyone had that fucking screensaver, right? Mm-hmm. But the other kind of technology, the cell phones and everything like that seemed a little dated to me.
Oh, of course. But you think that was about the time I'd gotten my real first cell phone. In the military, you had to be on call. They had to be able to reach you. I had a beeper at this time, okay? So that Nokia 9100 banana slider, that shit was high tech. That was like the predecessor to the Razor. That was the coolest phone you could have.
That's what you call your little D, right? The banana slider?
The 9100, yeah.
So, Raj, you talked about how things look like shit, like the phones and stuff like that. If we really want to get down to probably my chief gripe with this movie, other than the ending, is how shitty the office escape scene looked. Like, this is an iconic scene. People reference it. You know exactly what they're talking about, right? Like, there's been an homage to this in several films and television, but he gets the call. He's being directed out of the place. I think Workaholics did something like that too. But it is laughably bad. Like, Neo is like a foot away from the agents. His ass is like 4 feet up in the air. He's like supposed to stay low. And he just kind of like, he's in his khakis, just kind of shuffling out of there. It's fucking awful. Like, go back and watch this if you haven't watched it in a while. There's no way he makes it out of there alive.
Yeah, but for every bad office escape scene, there's a badass scene of Morpheus walking with his hands behind his back. Like the Morpheus walk. Like, that's the coolest part of this movie.
Hey, he's pretty badass.
Like, how do you do that? Have you ever seen anyone in real life? Have you ever tried to do that? You have to like at least go to yoga for half a decade in order to get my arms to bend that way and to be able to do that. But that's just badassery right there. If you see anyone doing that walking around, make friends with that person.
I do like the fact that Morpheus is supposed to be a hacker, Neo's supposed to be a hacker. And when they get down to talking about it, he's trying to explain the world to him and everything. He doesn't use like any sort of technical jargon at all. He's like, all right, so we're going to get really fucking philosophical here. Just so you're ready, okay? And like, if you're trying to recruit a guy to your cause, don't fucking feed him riddles. Like, you're confusing the shit out of the poor guy.
Well, you got to remember, it was 99. When he says AI, thank God that Neo says artificial intelligence.
That's right.
You're both supposed to be like cutting edge hackers.
We've seen Terminator. We get it. Skynet. We understand. But he gives the red pill, blue pill. Again, this movie has been memed to death. It's become part of, the everyday pop culture, lexicon. Knowing if we truly lived in a simulation world where you took a pill and one got you out of it, or you could stay in it, what would you choose? Would you choose the red pill or the blue pill?
I'm so fucking Cypher. I'm so blue pill.
Why are you blue pill?
A blue pill because I like my life. I like my life a lot. Everything's cool, man. I get to do a podcast with you guys. I got a good job. I got a girlfriend. Yeah. I got my dog. I get to play Destiny 2, gamertag shirtless Lincoln. I get to do all these different things. I'm like, why the fuck would I want to fuck that up? Just to get out of my bubble and be like, great, now I get to fight fucking giant, spiders.
Yeah, seriously, it's a no-brainer. On Twitter, I asked the question, and I think it came back almost 50-50 split. It was maybe 51% would take the red pill, 49% the blue. I'm 100% blue pill. What's the upside to taking red? I'm going to live in an old, rusty, musty tin can with a bunch of other people, eat that mush. What's the best that I could hope for? Maybe go to a rave in Zion? What's the highlight of my day? If I stay blue pill, it's all gravy.
I mean, this is the thing. The Matrix, the makers of the Matrix aren't even real assholes about it.
No.
They're it's a pretty okay world. We picked the height of your civilization. We're not making you live in cells and everything. We created a simulation so you're comfortable and you feel like you're living in a normal world. And at first they even tried to make it a utopia and it didn't work. But they were trying. They were just hey, we'll make you a heaven. Just chill, everybody. We want to suck your energy. That's all.
Well,
Raj, what would you do?
I like to think of myself as a freedom fighter. I think that
you're full of shit.
I think
you are double blue pill.
You're crazy. You're absolutely nuts.
You would not even go to the meeting. That's how blue pill you are.
What do you mean I would not even go to the meeting?
Well, hold on. Tell them, where are these meetings? Who's going to be there? No, I'm going to stay home.
You live in Scottsdale. It's the blue pill of Arizona.
You guys are nuts. No, I fucking rage against the machine, everyone. I would join the resistance against our robot overlords, and I would recruit people to become part of our little world down in Zion. I'd be one of those people who would volunteer to help out the Nebuchadnezzar. I would have my own ship, my cool little hovercraft, and I'd go around, hanging out in virtual simulations with the girl in the red dress. That's what I would do.
Raj, I've been on vacation with you, okay? You're connected to your phone 24/7, even while driving cargo vans with 15 people in them. You are as wired into the Matrix as humanly possible.
Crazy. Which is why I want to escape. I want to escape this world. No, listen, if someone came to me and offered, hey, everything can be perfect for you. You're someone of importance. Someone if Cypher came and made the same deal, I would probably take it. I mean, it's the easy way out, but I like to think of myself as a resistance fighter.
Delusional.
I don't know. Delusional? All right. Well, Morpheus explains that in the early 21st century, intelligent machines waged war against the humans that created them. When humans blocked the machines' access to solar energy, the machines retaliated by harvesting the humans' bioelectricity for power. The Matrix is a shared simulation of the world as it was in 1999, which in the minds of harvested humans are trapped and pacified. Neo had lived in it since birth. Morpheus and his crew belong to a group of rebels who hack into the Matrix and unplug enslaved humans, recruiting them as rebels. The rebels' understanding of the simulated reality allows them to bend its physical laws, granted them superhuman abilities. Morpheus warns Neo that fatal injuries within the Matrix also kill one's physical body, and that the agents are powerful sentient programs that eliminate threats to the system. Neo's skill during virtual combat training lends credence to Morpheus' belief that Neo is the one, an especially powerful man prophesied to lead the insurrection of enslaved humans against the machines.
So I think that this movie did a great job trying to answer some really big questions. When they pull Neo out of the pod, I go, well, shit, dude, his eyes are going to be fucked because he hasn't looked at anything, and his muscles are going to be atrophied. They're like, we got an answer for that. We're going to stimulate the muscles. We're going to inspire muscle growth. I don't know if they have limited resources. Why the hell some of these guys are super muscular? It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense when you live in a hovercraft and just go into the Matrix. You don't really need muscles, but whatever. But the construct scene, with Morpheus does a great job of establishing the rules, right? Why they're able to function the way they are, what the agents are, how the Matrix works. And a lot of it makes sense. They even go as far as to explain deja vu, how it's a glitch in the system.
Glitch in the Matrix.
So they've changed something, you know. They explain why the Matrix isn't heavenly, why the world has conflict, because that's what the human mind is attuned to, and they rejected it when it was too perfect. But there is a big flaw, I think. They mention, unnecessarily, they didn't have to go there, but they mentioned that the humans knocked out the sun, basically. They covered up the sky so that machines that were solar operated would not have energy and would die out, right? Seems like a really weird way to combat machines. But this makes the energy cycle pretty much unsustainable. So humans are grown, and then when they die, they're fed to other humans intravenously. But with no sun, that's not sustainable. The energy wouldn't keep. So they would need another food source, like a fungus or something, to be involved for this to work. And, you know, moreover, it just seems like a really, really inefficient way to harvest energy through these. You know, they talk about the amount of energy that a human produces, but then you've got these flying sentinels and shit that consume a ton of energy to even operate. That cycle is just, it doesn't make sense scientifically.
If you want to watch, they released, I think it was to coincide with the DVD release of the second movie, they released something called the Animatrix. It was a collection of animated shorts, and the two that I really love is called The Second Renaissance Part 1 and Part 2. And it covers the time that leads up to the war. If you watch these two parts, they're beautiful. You have to come away pulling for the artificial intelligence.
Yeah, you pull for the robots.
It is very much, and they need to turn that into a movie. That should be a prequel, because it doesn't deal with any of the Matrix within the constraints of the actual virtual world. It's the human robot war and how you get there. And the artificial intelligence tried to be peaceful. They tried to coexist with humans, and humans were just a bunch of dicks.
Well, fucking watch Chappie. Watch Johnny Five, Short Circuit. Watch AI with Haley Joel Osment. That's where we're going. If you think that people, you know, are on Facebook being like, well, this is what you asked for $15 and you're going to get kiosks in McDonald's. Imagine how pissed those people are going to be when robots take their jobs. Like, they are going to be so pissed off. They're going to be the ones that are going to be out, you know, they're going to be bashing robots. They're going to be like, you know, screaming, build a wall to get these robots away from them. That's what the Animatrix tries to point out. You know we're going to fuck this up. You know we're going to fuck up AI. You know we're going to fuck up all the sex robots.
Thankfully, we're still better at blaming other humans than robots so far. So far. But if this topic interests you, Westworld podcast that we do is right up your alley. If you haven't listened to it yet, go to iTunes and look for the Westworld podcast brought to you by Shat on TV.
Or you could read the book Robopocalypse. It's fantastic.
Robopocalypse is
fucking Robopocalypse again.
Robopocalypse is good. But my question is, if you are fighting sentient robots, why kung fu?
It looks cool.
Very good.
It looks cool.
No, not that.
It just looks cool.
No, because I think honestly the reason why is, as they showed with the deja vu scene, that everything in the world can be changed around you, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe weapons can be taken away from you, buildings can be changed, all that stuff. The closest thing you have to reality is what's within your own reach and your own body. And Kung Fu makes perfect sense. Also, Kung Fu largely is about, and most martial arts are largely about understanding your own body, your own balance, your own chi, all these concepts that would be really helpful if you're trying to maneuver your body in superhuman ways through a construct, right? Like, it actually makes a lot of sense to do it that way. Although I still would have gone with probably gun training first, or as Big D mentioned, parkour.
But I mean, like, so they show the scenes, and again, I do agree with you. This movie does it attempts to answer questions that is on the audience's mind, like why all of a sudden she would be able to fly a helicopter, and why all of a sudden he would be able to do parkour, and it's because they can load in programs and specific skills on the fly, on demand, right? If you had this idea, if this technology existed, what's the first thing you would download into your mind to use right now?
Soccer.
You would immediately become like the best soccer player.
The U.S. national team needs all the help it can get, and I would just get out there and kick some ass.
I did not want to podcast this week because of the U.S. men's national team. Like, if there's any reason to take a fucking blue pill and go back to 2013 and just live in that World Cup cycle, it's because we didn't qualify for the World Cup. I'm very upset right now, extremely upset.
Well, the good thing, Gene, is you have 600 some odd days until the next match, so you don't need to download soccer. You can actually learn it in almost 2 years.
I think anybody who plays in the small goal league here in Scottsdale knows that even 600 days is going to help me. I'll just be 2 years older.
But so to answer your question, so you're asking if I could download.
If you could download any skill, any talent, anything right now. Yeah.
Probably every language, every known conceivable language through history, I think would instantly.
Yeah. That'd be the first thing.
Oh, I think without a doubt, I think that would help you.
Okay.
In your everyday life. I would like to. I think helicopter. When am I going to fly a helicopter? Parkour. I'm too big to parkour. I think, yeah. Okay, maybe, yes. Kung Fu would be a good one. I think it'd be cool.
You know what I would learn how to do? That cool gymnastics thing where you go and you run and then you do like the flips and you go back and, like... what do they call those?
Floor exercise?
I would learn how to do that because there was this one guy in middle school that wowed the entire class by doing that, and he was like the coolest thing ever. And I remember thinking to myself, "Fuck, if I could do that, I'd be pretty cool." But I was just the fat kid with glasses that won spelling bees.
God, if only you knew a woman who had some sort of a dance studio with a giant indoor space with matted floors that you could learn from. That would be kind of amazing.
Hold on. So you're telling me you'd be a red pill guy who wants to fight the resistance, and your biggest goal that you would use this endless computer would be to learn to do tumble salts.
Yeah, I would do tumble salts. That's my fighting style. I would tumble salt my way through the Matrix,
so you could fall safely without hurting yourself.
Yeah,
I really want Raj to get a spot on the new Street Fighter game. Like, just tumble salts is his fighting style. Hailing from Scottsdale. So, but getting back to that question though, I want to reconsider. Actually, in all seriousness though, I would want to learn just instantly how to code, like how to write JavaScript, HTML, CSS, like that. In this world is priceless. That makes you a god.
Well, it's not as good as Universal Translator. Like I could be like a wind talker. I could speak.
Listen, asshole. Within 5 years, we're gonna have Universal Translators in our fucking brain chips.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
It'll be great.
Okay, so now we're talking skills we would want in the real world.
Yeah,
the skill that would help Matrix and his whole band. How about like covert skills?
Okay,
the ability to blend in. Right, you're trying to not be noticed, but yet they're dressing up like they're all going to a rave. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon, and you got 6 people walking down the street, head to toe vinyl, sunglasses. How about you blend in? How about you wear a disguise? You can pick your clothes. Business suits might help you not get noticed by the Matrix right away.
Why don't they just dress like agents?
Good question.
That's actually gonna come up in the Matrix 4 where they go back to the 60s. It's kind of but Raj, it's not a movie about time travel.
That's right.
It's a movie that just happens to be in the 60s.
It just happens to be in the 60s. But like, all right, so people always ask the question, are we living in the Matrix right now? There's entire articles devoted to it. I think Elon Musk suggested that we could potentially be living in a Matrix type reality. Was it Elon Musk? It was someone that you wouldn't expect. Someone that just, listen, my go-to for any kind of science-y thing is Elon Musk. But do you believe this idea, this concept we're living in the Matrix?
No, I took the blue pill.
So you don't believe this at all?
No, but the whole point is you wouldn't know. No.
Gene?
Nah, I mean, again, it would be cool, but no. What's interesting about the Matrix is even if it does exist, it's so meta because of the fact that if you bring in the concept of an afterlife into it, then it's like, how does that even work? So, right. I don't buy into the Matrix thing, but I did read a few articles on it, and it's an interesting to think about concept. I'm not buying it.
Well, there's all kinds of subreddits dedicated to this idea. One of my favorite recent posts is quoted as this. He says, the author of the post said, 5 years ago, I found out that the Earth is actually virtual reality. It is too good to be true, however. It's how it works that needs to be exploited. When you start a business or get a job, things like we are head-to-head with improvising supercomputer that writes your story for better or worse, success or failure. The worst thing about this is nobody is programmed to tell you the truth. And then he puts his email address to email him at onetimetogether@outlook.com for more information. So if you want to know how to exploit the matrix that we're all living in right now, the address that you can email him or her is onetimetogether@outlook.com. I feel like if you were a woke individual, if you're a red pill, you would at least like have an iCloud account, right? Or a Gmail, not an Outlook. No one's using Microsoft.
It's not like it's AOL.
Yeah, if the Matrix exists, Microsoft runs it. So
you think so? No, it'd be too glitchy. We'd constantly have to hit Control-Alt-Delete.
This is how we'll know if it's real. If the Matrix exists, then the program's going to be pissed at us for spreading the word about onetimetogether@outlook.com, and they're going to kill us. So if this is the last podcast, everyone know the Matrix is real.
And if the Matrix is run by Microsoft, it's going to send Clippy after us, and that is the most terrifying agent possible.
He's one of the old agents of the Matrix. He's the Windows 95 version. Well, the group enters the Matrix to visit the Oracle, a prophet who predicted the emergence of the One. She implies that Neo is not the One and warns Neo that he will have to choose between his life and Morpheus' life. Before they can leave the Matrix, the group is ambushed by agents and tactical police. Morpheus allows himself to be captured so that Neo and the rest of the crew can escape. However, their gateway is hindered by Cypher, a crew member who betrayed Morpheus to Agent Smith in exchange for a comfortable life within the Matrix. Cypher disconnects from the Matrix and murders several crew members as they lie defenseless in the real world. He prepares to disconnect Neo and Trinity as well, but Tank, a crewman whom he had left for dead, kills him.
I just want to say I was embarrassed of myself as a 19-year-old for not. I was like shocked when they revealed that Cypher was like the inside man. I was like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. And as an adult, I look back on that, or as an older adult, I guess, and I'm like, they dropped so many hints from the fucking opening scene when Trinity's like, oh, we're being traced on a call, you know, and then the agent's referring to the inside man, and then like Cypher being startled when Neo like sneaks up on him. They took great pains to show us this guy's a mole, and I totally didn't catch it as a teenager.
So the problem that I have right here, this is a huge plot hole for me. The ship is relatively small, right? You need to have someone log you in and get you into the Matrix. How the hell did Cypher hook himself up, get into the Matrix for his secret meeting with Agent Smith, yet no one saw him go in? And then how did he get himself out? Is this a problem with the plot, or was there a secondary mole on the ship?
I think they just fucked.
That's the big hole.
Yeah, imagine just the balls you had to have. You got to link in, you're having this secret meeting, and someone walks down like, hey, look, Cypher's hooked in alone. What? I'm going to watch his screen. Holy shit, he's meeting with Smith. Oh, look what he's doing. Disconnect.
I think that there are certain points in the Matrix where you're hidden from view, because don't they say, well, we can't find them. They've gone off or in certain areas. Right. So I think that's how they explain that he's in a meeting with Smith where they don't know where he is.
But Cypher's sitting in one of the 5 chairs. He's right. You can't hide there.
No, but I think that what I'm saying is they probably go off the grid so often that it's not uncommon. So the Cypher probably doesn't. He doesn't think, oh, anything's wrong until it's too late.
Well, we know that Mouse, the little guy, was selling sexual experiences with the woman with the red dress. So maybe there was like a do not disturb sign you could put up. Like Neo's like, hey, let me go meet the red dress. Just don't come in here. Maybe that's what Cypher did.
This is a little sign. It's like, do not enter juicy steak in progress. Like,
yes.
So I thought, despite all that, though, they did a great job making Cypher a very hateable villain within an hour, and also it's a fairly believable motivation, right? Like he just like we were talking about, he just wants fucking out, man. Like he's done. He says, I'm tired. I just want out of this. Then it gets really creepy and rapey, and I don't really dig that part. But another thing I really dug was the Oracle. That scene was a little Buddhist monkey to me. Like I'm not that into it, but I thought it was very clever. I clapped out loud when the Oracle offers Neo a cookie, and I'm like, oh, cookies. Like she drops cookies. That's how she knows all this shit. Like she is a tracking software. Like I get that. It's kind of cool, right? Like she's giving out cookies. And I don't know, as a digital marketer who spends a lot of time dropping cookies on people, and then creepily watching what they do and segmenting them in the little markets, I thought it was a nice little touch. I hope that's what they were going for. I hope it wasn't just cookies.
Well, the purpose of the Oracle is to help study the individual humans and then make them accept the Matrix, correct? Like, that's the whole point of the Oracle?
I think that's what they were getting at, yeah.
No.
So then, you don't think so?
No, the Oracle's definitely off. She's off the reservation. No, it's not politically correct, but yes, the Oracle is definitely off book. Okay, she's doing her own thing. She is meeting with Neo. If the program knew about it, that's the end of the story. She's trying to actually find the one to help bring it to an end. If you watch the sequels, that's what she's doing.
No. See, you need to. When's the last time you watched the sequels?
Oh God, when did they come out?
2003. They both. I think one came out like earlier in the year, and then the other one came out like.
Okay, bingo, 2003.
I personally, according to the sequels, the Oracle is the mother of the Matrix, and the architect. Is it the architect? I'm pretty sure it's the architect.
Yeah, I think it's the architect, yeah.
The architect, he's the father of the Matrix. Basically, the Oracle is the one that tries to discover the one, or leads all these new ones on a path to then reset the Matrix, because they're all anomalies. There's almost like a religious overtone.
Gratuitous religious overtones, I would say.
You would say gratuitous?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, Neo is supposed to be Jesus.
Yeah, Zion. I mean, it's all very overt. I think Trinity. Like, come on.
Well, the answer was right there. It wasn't too hard for the Oracle to figure it out. Neo is a damn anagram for the one. You didn't figure that out? It's obvious once he walks in the door.
Oh, Neo one.
Well, I subscribe to that counter theory that the agent is actually the one.
Agent Smith is
Agent
actually
Smith
truly
is the
one.
one, and
Right,
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So the concept is that Neo is the one that sends Smith on the path towards getting plugged back into the Matrix and then resetting everything to make it the true utopia that it should have been the entire time. That's what it's trying to do. But yeah, no, I subscribe to that belief as well, that Agent Smith is truly the one. But in the Matrix, the agents interrogate Morpheus in an attempt to learn his access codes to the mainframe computer in Zion. The rebels' humans lack refuge in the real world. Tank proposes that killing Morpheus to prevent this, but Neo, who believes that he is not the one, resolves to return to the Matrix to rescue Morpheus. Trinity insists on accompanying him. They rescue Morpheus, and in doing so, Neo gains confidence in his abilities, performing feats comparable to the agents. Morpheus and Trinity exit the Matrix, but Smith thwarts Neo's escape. Now sure of himself, Neo fights Smith as a near equal and defeats him, but Smith's nature as an agent allows him to survive.
This point in the movie is where I really started having my doubts. So up until this, I felt like it was a fairly perfect movie with a few plot points that didn't quite work out for me, a little inconsistencies. What I don't like about the movie, and I understand that they're trying to get a lot done in a little bit of time, but maybe not anticipating sequels and stuff like that, but Neo cares a shitload about Morpheus really quickly. And then Trinity cares a shitload about Neo really quickly. And I know they're living very desperate lives, it's extreme conditions, but come on, this is like too much for me. The way they throw around love and sacrifice, it hasn't developed that much yet, and I think it really hurts the movie.
Well, think about like religious zealots, right? We talk about like the religious overtones of this movie. Morpheus is truly a believer, right? And Trinity is one of his followers, right? So the apostles, right? They're searching for the one. If you go to someone, a soothsayer like the Oracle, and they tell you what your mission is supposed to be on, and you live in this world where everything you thought was real isn't, like, there's no reason for you not to believe when people are telling you these things that, you're going to meet the one and you're going to fall in love. So if Morpheus believes that Neo's the one, it makes sense to me why Trinity would then think that she had, like, they're supposed to be together forever, right? Because the Oracle told him. However, I do agree with you that the movie did not do an effective job of showing the audience why Trinity, maybe it's just that there was no chemistry between Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss, but I believed Morpheus 100% was bought into Neo's the one and he believes in his mission. That I truly got. And it wasn't a lot in a little bit of time. This movie's 2.5 hours long.
The movie's like almost 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
How did you want them to sneak in a love story or a bonding, moment with Neo and Morpheus? You can't. So you just got to, in a movie that has all of this, the crazy stunts, the special effects, you got to just let it go. If you worry about the romance, it doesn't bother me until the very end, and I'll get to that with how tropey it gets. But it was okay. You needed Neo to go back in and have a cause.
But here's the thing: is you can make the mission matter, and they care about the mission, they care about the purpose, and that is what motivates them. But they care about Neo directly, and I think that's what bothers me: is they have an emotional, visceral response to him being imperiled, to him being in danger, to him being wounded, and that to me is what bothers me. Is they should care about their hopes of succeeding. That's what hurts. Is that the fear of loss? I think that's what bothered me about it. The motivation seemed wrong.
No, but you've been living these desperate lives. The only thing that keeps you going is that hope, that belief that there is a special one. So by Neo being hurt, he's more important than the mission is. By him getting hurt or potentially killed, you start to lose faith that he is the one. And if Neo isn't the one and Morpheus gets killed, all is lost.
Yeah, but in that situation, I'm not going like, "Oh God, Neo, no." I'm going like, "Oh fuck, like, fuck, we're fucked."
Yeah.
That's the difference.
I remember watching this movie, getting so and falling so in love with it, and I couldn't wait to show my dad the film, and he really enjoyed it as well. The rescue of Morpheus scene, badass, still holds up when he takes the rope and or not the rope, but the is it the hose? And ties it around and jumps through the glass and grabs onto Morpheus. That shit is great. But I have to agree and side here with Gene. When Neo is left behind and is fighting Agent Smith, it felt to me like, he's going to discover his powers and become a superhero.
Okay, before we get in, Morpheus actually jumps out of the window and Neo catches him midair. But did anyone think Neo was a bit careless with that minigun?
Fuck yes. You got the sprinklers going off. There's smoke. There's glass and debris. You don't have a clear line of sight. He is unloading thousands of rounds into that room, and no one... It would have been funny if the dust settled and Morpheus was sitting there just shredded. And they looked at each other like, "Oh, okay, let's get out of here."
My bad.
Whoops.
Whoops.
But to go back, man, you talk about iconic scenes. That when they first walk into the building, that whole scene from walking through the metal detectors, and again, turn it off. That they're killing 5 guys who just went to work. The wife made them lunch. They put the kids on the school bus. They went to work, and Neo and Trinity just kill them. But if you want to see, I'll put a link into the notes. Someone realized that not only does the soundtrack, because I think, what is it? It's Spy Break that they do it to, right?
Right.
Someone realized that if you sync it up and right when they walk into Lou Bega's Mamba Number 5, it is perfect. It is so good. I'm going to put it in the notes.
Yeah. Again,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's awesome.
It's just so close to all the things. It was tough for me to enjoy that scene. I know we talked about it. I won't go back there, but Neo flees the converging agents and locates an exit in the hotel from which Trinity had escaped earlier, but Smith shoots him dead, and the real-world machines known as Sentinels attack the Nebuchadnezzar, while Trinity whispers to Neo that the Oracle told her that she would fall in love with the One and that Neo cannot be dead because she loves him. She loves him. She kisses Neo, and he revives, this time with the power to perceive and control the Matrix. He effortlessly defeats Smith and leaves the Matrix in time for the ship's electromagnetic pulse weapon to disable the attacking Sentinels. Sometime later, Neo makes a telephone call in the Matrix, promising the machines he will show their prisoners a world where anything is possible. He hangs up and flies into the sky. End movie.
So the love story, to me, totally ruins the ending.
Yeah.
Like, what in the actual fuck?
Yeah, I almost turned the movie off, but we only had 5 minutes left.
God, I didn't remember it.
Yeah.
I didn't either. Like a moment earlier, I see Trinity cut the line of the helicopter and like jump off, and I go, "Wow, wish Rambo'd figure that shit out." Like, way to go, Trinity! Like, you're awesome. And I'm like, okay, cool. They're colleagues. They fight together. Like, this is cool.
Sure.
And I'm loving seeing Trinity and characters like Switch, where like they're empowered women that are doing their own thing and they're fighting the fight and they're not linked up with any of these other guys. And then this happens. So like, what saves him? Love? Is that the message here? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Little Cloud Atlas for me.
It's the ultimate trope. It's that like heroic second wind. Neo is dead. He's got no heartbeat. The agents walk off, and then he receives the true kiss of love. And Trinity whispers, "Do you hear me? Do you hear me?" And he comes back and then kicks. All of a sudden, that's the awakening he needed.
Yeah. It totally. Yeah, it was true love's kiss. True love's kiss.
So what are they trying to say in a movie where it's technology is the enemy? What is it in the end? The human heart is what can defeat technology.
So. That's stupid.
Ugh.
Humans are a virus.
I agree. And the Superman flying thing. I remember laughing at that. Like, it makes sense in the next movie. I mean, they overuse the flying Neo, but that's the other thing that kind of, didn't do it for me. I remember the first time I watched it, and then now, even then, I'm like, oh, he takes off and he flies. It's a little much.
Yeah, and like the prolonged shot of the sunglasses. I'm like, oh god. Like they really wanted you to go like, oh, Neo's cool, man.
So
Neo's
badass.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. Marty McFucking-Fly is cool, not Neo.
It's a movie that just happens to be about time travel. So
no, but it left you with Rage Against the Machine blaring. It left you wondering what Neo would do.
The soundtrack is badass. The soundtrack is it's fantastic. With that being said, now's the time where we break out the chat meter and give you our wipe scores. If you've never listened to the podcast before, 0 wipes is the equivalent of watching The Matrix, and 5 wipes is the equivalent of watching The Matrix Revolutions. That being said, Big D, how many wipes do you give this movie?
Surprisingly, I liked it a lot. I'm going to give it 1 wipe.
What?
I think it holds up. It's entertaining. The plot has small holes. But overall, it revolutionized a lot of special effects to today. The stylized fighting, I think you can see it in a lot of movies that come out today. It looked modern. The soundtrack was great. The cast was fun. It's a 2-hour and 40-minute movie. And I felt it was over much quicker than Ghostbusters, which is 45 minutes, shorter. I would watch it again. I will not watch any of the subsequent sequels because I know that will cheapen this movie. But it's a good ride. There's not a down moment. It's entertaining. It makes you think. And for when it came out in 99, it's well worth 1 wipe today.
Gene, how many wipes do you give this movie?
I agree with Big D that this movie absolutely holds up in every way. It tops most of today's movies. I'd rather watch this than a lot of things that are coming out right now. It's insanely entertaining. It's groundbreaking. It's visionary. But the love story and some really corny lines hurt the movie. For me, it's a 1 wiper.
This movie got very self-important in the subsequent sequels, and created this online world where everything that is terrible about social media and living a different personality and hiding behind a screen name and taking a red pill and getting woke and all that shit, and unfortunately has inspired some pretty horrific things in the world, which sucks because this movie is good.
This movie is. Hold on, you gotta separate that.
I know. I'm trying to.
Your personal problems with 4chan and Reddit and the way people are, disconnect it. That shit didn't exist when this came out. How does the movie handle on its own?
All I'm saying is that if they come out with a Destiny 3 and it's a virtual reality world where you can go in and you can be your character, we'll never see Caitlyn again. We'll never see Jean again.
No. Yeah.
They will exist in the Matrix.
Well, dude, all your friends would. Tyson, Veda, fucking Kat.
It's unreal.
Fucking Clean Kevin.
Strictly on the basis of looking at this as a movie, it's a 2 wipe for me. It's an iconic movie and everything like that. I put down 2.5 wipes, but you guys have talked me down off this. I just feel like this movie has inspired a lot of terrible things in the world, unfortunately, that it didn't intend to do.
So don't hold the movie responsible.
I know. I'm trying not to, but
Dude, this movie put Dragula on the map.
you gotta dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam in the back of my Dragula.
This podcast just become a fucking sing-along at this point. This is like 3 episodes in a row where we have to start singing. It all started with Playing with the Boys, and it's just gotten worse.
Playing with them boys. So that Gene, what does that give us? What's the average here?
So 1.3 wipes average.
1.3 wipes. Big D, where does that rank in the pantheon of shat?
Okay, so that sits now. We have a 1, 2, 3. We have a 3-way tie for the 11 spot with The Breakfast Club, Shawshank Redemption, and The Blues Brothers at 1.33.
The Blues
Brothers?
Blues Brothers is fucking terrible.
Oh, God. How did that happen?
So here,
The
hold
only,
on.
the only reason Blues Brothers is that high is because you had the King Bee on, and he loves that movie.
Okay, so here, let's do this. And let's re-record that, and we're going to alter King B's grade on that. Anyway.
No. Listen, it's in the temple. It's written down. We got to go with it. It is what it is. You can't alter it.
Fine.
It is what it is.
Fine.
It's right next to fucking the Blues Brothers.
Jesus.
It's just
Okay.
That's terrible.
So it's tied in the 11 spot with Breakfast Club, Shawshank Redemption, and the Blues Brothers.
One of these things is not like the other.
Okay, so we're gonna have to come up with like an audible, some way that we can go back and people. No, where you can go back and we will do a secondary viewing because
No.
God, no.
No.
Don't make me watch
I'm
it again.
so glad I was not on that episode. I'm so glad I was not. You just listen. You listening to that episode where you guys fawn over the Blues Brothers. I was. Had I not been on a plane, I would have turned it off. It was you just slurping Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi.
give me the red pill. Give me the red pill.
I love the sing-alongs. The music's great.
Shut your mouth.
I think I gave it like 2, 2.5. Something?
No. Oh, okay. Hold on. Yes, it was. You gave it a 2. I gave it a 1.5. I don't know what the fuck.
Oh my god!
Oh, so it's your fucking
No,
fault.
it was fucking King B's 0.5.
Oh, that movie's fun. You know what's even worse?
And he would shit all over this movie. by the way,
He would.
but-
He hates The Matrix.
No, but 1.5. I still think the Blues Brothers. It's not a 1.5. I think is okay. Got to remember
All
what
right.
it was. I didn't give
All
it
right.
a fucking 0.5.
The Shawshank Redemption is also a far superior movie than The Matrix.
No.
You know, Raj, you could correct this. You could correct this by just changing your damn vote.
To what? To 2? I'm at 2.
1.5.
Nah, I'm all right. I don't think it's better than Shawshank, so we'll leave
We
it.
must correct this travesty, but not. I don't care that much.
I don't care that much. Now it's time where we talk about the next movie we're going to be doing. Big D, what do we got on the what's up next?
So the next one here is
Ooh,
yeah.
ooh, yeah.
It is for all
Things
those.
are about to get steamy on the podcast.
It's time to wait for your parents to go to bed, to turn off the lights.
Oh yeah.
Get the Lubriderm and some Kleenex
vinyl.
and sit down for some late night watching.
some latex and
Banana slider.
banana sliders.
Yes. So this is for all the young boys and girls in the mid 80s. When they had those coming of age movies, we had in last place
Literally.
Spring Break. In second place, Hot Dog the Movie. Third place, 9.5 Weeks. And the winner for late night watching on Skinamax was the 1981 classic Porky's.
Yeah. Which I think is, if correct me if I'm wrong, Porky's is pretty tame compared to.
Fuck no.
You don't
I
think so?
I think this movie is going to be as politically incorrect as possible.
Really?
I think it's going to be worse than Revenge of the Nerds. Revenge of the Nerds, we had like 30 felonies at the end that we had counted.
All right.
I think this movie, I remember them drilling holes in the bathroom and watching the girl shower. I think
Yeah.
there's all kinds of...
That's just good, clean, innocent 1981 fun.
Oh, I think it's going to make everyone realize 81... Ew, it was a dark time.
Listen, there was no internet back then. There was no Matrix. So that's what you had to do.
I think those high school kids, you know, their shenanigans bordered on a life in prison.
Yeah, if anyone was a teenager that listened to this podcast in the 80s, write in and let us know what you did for fun. Was it easier to get laid in the early 80s? Because there were no
Who was listening to this podcast in the 80s?
No, I'm saying like if you were at a sexual age in the 80s, it had to have been easier to get laid. It had because there was nothing fucking else to do.
There's
No, you're
Tinder
full of
and
shit.
there's Tinder and Snapchat now.
No, people were afraid of. Listen, I told you that in Breakfast Club that people didn't admit that they jerked off.
Yeah.
Without the internet, you didn't realize that everybody else was a freak. So people had to pretend and kind of be constrained with social norms. Today, there's no embarrassment if somebody's out on Snapchat showing their goods to Gene. You know, that happens.
It happens.
Does it?
It does.
Can I get our Snapchat account?
No, that's why we don't give it to you.
All right. Well, it's been a while since we've done this, but we used to do a segment called Shout-Outs. Gene, what is a shout-out?
So shout out is a way to show your support for Shat the Movies. We don't ask for money or anything like that. We just want to know that you're listening and show your support by going to shatthemovies.com. If you scroll down, you'll see a little slider that says get a shout out. You put your name in there and we will read it on the podcast. This week's shout outs are, it's a lot of them. Victoria.
Vicky.
Bob Hawthorne.
Hawthorne.
Anthony Logan.
Great name.
Jen.
She's a newcomer, but she loves the podcast.
John Newman.
Randy Newman's son.
Jenny Pig Soup.
Such a delicious last name.
Daedra.
Daedra. Better than Nitra.
Bill Mann.
Or Bill Woman.
Nailface.
He's always hammered.
Michael.
Mikey.
Donald Head.
It's our president.
Air Stewie 23.
He's dunking all over us.
Angela.
She got her groove back.
Jerry House.
What's that? Was it Angela?
I got nothing for that one.
Sarconic.
Better than sardonic.
James.
Jimmy.
Ray Ray.
Hey.
Jonathan S.
Johnny.
Kevin.
Clean Kevin.
Pamela.
From Oklahoma.
Kyle.
Fuck Kyle.
Bettily.
Bettily? What kind of name is Bettily?
I'm probably pronouncing it wrong.
I went to Vegas last time and I put a Bettily on a horse and I lost.
You were on a fucking roll. Brandon.
It's just too long. There's too many. I don't know. Brandon.
Devo.
He's from Japan.
Annie fan.
It's almost like Antifa, but like a positive version of it.
Scott.
He saves the world.
And Keenly.
He's from Freeland, Michigan.
Thanks everyone who wrote in for those shout outs. We'll do a better job. I take responsibility for that. Better job of reading those more regularly. So go ahead and visit shatthemovies.com and go ahead and put your name in on the shout outs. We'd love to read your name on the podcast.
That concludes this week's episode of Shat the Movies. Be sure to follow us on social media and share with a friend. We're everywhere, including Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. Just follow the handle at Shat the Movies. We're also on Facebook. Search for Shat the Movies Podcast. We're one day going to figure out this whole Facebook Live thing and maybe start doing live recordings on Facebook, unedited, where you get to see us, do this in the raw.
Or we could have sock puppets.
Or sock puppets.
You
are
post that sock puppet?
You are doubling down on the animation. If anyone's an animator and would love to animate like 2 minutes of this podcast, let us know. That would be cool.
I'll post the sock puppets and they can get an idea of what we're looking for.
You and your sock puppets. Website is shatthemovies.com. Email address to suggest. We got a lot of really good suggestions lately that we've recently posted on our website that you can vote on. But if you want to suggest a movie theme and some movies, the email address is hosts@shatthemovies.com. We're everywhere fine podcasts can be found, including iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. That's all we ask. We're not Patreon people. We don't block out or restrict what you can listen to. So all that we ask for is you subscribe and give us a review that helps the podcast grow. You can also check out our sister podcast, Shat on TV, where we review television series such as Westworld, Taboo, and American Gods. You can find all the information on our website, shatontv.com. On behalf of my co-hosts, Big D and Gene Lyons, I'm Roger Roper. Be sure to join us next week for our review of the 1981 film Porky's. And also, if I could give myself a plug, it's 90 minutes and it was shot on film. So I think by that definition, it qualifies. But you could also check me out. I'm joining my buddy Kevin Brackett over at Show Spoilers, and we're reviewing Mr. Robot. So just follow Show Spoilers if you're a fan of Mr. Robot, which started up today. I got to go watch that, and then we're going to record that tomorrow. So that's it for us. Thank you so much for listening. We take care. Good night, and good luck.
Sweet when they killed Ellis, and with a little help from Alan, John McClane.